Better Together podcast.
Welcome to the Better Together podcast from the Fuquay Varina Chamber of Commerce. We are recording today from the Dashmore Conference Room and Studio, sponsored by Rescued Wood Rehab. The Better Together podcast highlights local businesses each week as the Fuquay Varina Chamber of Commerce continues to promote an amazing business community. I'm Brad Marshall from Greater Culture CrossFit here in Fuquay Varina, and I am joined by the president himself of the Chamber of Commerce, Marty Woodward, of the board. Of the board.
Just chairman.
Just chairman.
It's not, it just means I get to document stuff. That's it.
That's it. But it's fun.
Brad, it's good to see you.
It's good to see you too.
Yeah,
How you doing?
I'm excited. We have a fantastic guest. Who knows more about this area than you and I will ever figure out.
That's right.
She's been around for a little while coming from Andrew, but now has a business here in Fuquay Varina. And we are very lucky to be joined by Karen Dupree Williams from Triangle to Coast Realty. Now we're going to learn about that to Coast Realty and learn a lot about that. So tell us about your business. Just kind of tell us a little bit about that, Karen.
Absolutely.
Welcome.
Thank you guys for having me today. Our business is Triangle to Coast Realty. We are located off of Academy Street right here in downtown Fuquay. And we're a full service real estate company serving buyers, sellers, investors alike in the market.
That's fantastic. So what inspired you to open, and I know you said you've been in real estate for some time, we were talking before we started, but what inspired you to open Triangle to Coast Realty?
So I have been a broker. This year, actually, I'm excited to celebrate my 25th year. I kind of started when I was 10, I guess, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Math checks out.
I was going to say 4, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay, 10. I was with RE/MAX for 19 years of my career, based both in Eastern North Carolina and Greenville, where I went to school and started my real estate career, and also in Cary for 12 years. And just kind of getting back to my roots in my hometown, and the amount of growth that's going on here in Fuquay is something that I really am excited about and wanted to be a part of. So after a lot of prayers and a lot of planning, I opened up in November of 22.
That's fantastic. Yeah, certainly cannot dispute the growth in Fuquay Varina, and we love that for our business community. So back in 22, when you opened the business, what challenges did you face at that time?
There's always a lot of excitement, but one of the things is just planning. And a challenge for me was being that I have been in the business and in the market selling real estate under your personal name for so long. I rebranded to my company name, being Triangle to Coast. And I guess if there was a challenge is making sure that everyone knew that Triangle to Coast was Karen, was my biggest challenge, and just kind of converting that brand over. So
yeah, the marketing of those things can be really kind of tricky, and you need to do it in a smooth way so that everybody finds, where you are. What are some unique aspects, and I mentioned the to Coast part of your business, what are some unique aspects of Triangle to Coast Realty?
Well, one, being we're full service, we do have a sister company that's property management. So an investor comes in and buys a piece of property, we can also manage it. But the to Coast part was that when you have a lot of clients in your basis and seasons in life change and they want a second home at the coast, and we do have property down at the coast as well personally, that we just kind of could bridge that gap and could help people find what they were looking for at the coast. It's a place we also love a lot, anywhere from Topsail all the way down to the South Carolina line. So being in part of that and helping the families that we already currently work with here in this market to do that there is something that just bridged really well.
That's one of the things I know we love, my wife and I love about living here is the ability to get over to the coast. Nice little day vacation or a weekend, fantastic place to get a piece of property. And so as you've continued to build here, I'd be curious, when you think about some of the services that you offer, what it's like to work with you and your company, what are some of the things that come to mind for you?
Well, I really think that our company sets apart just because I can say, honestly, I'm local, been here my whole entire life. I have seen it grow tremendously from, all the new things that are here when the restaurant used to be the library that we went in as a kid. And so those things, I think, being local, and then the full service. We are not a family owned, but my daughter's a part of my company as well. And so there's a lot of just local roots and passion that we have for the area itself here. So that has been here with my, growing up that I've seen it turn.
Yeah, and with all that growth, it does help to have some homegrown knowledge and insight of what might be coming or what's available and where and when might be the best possible time to potentially buy that home for folks as they're moving to the community. And you mentioned being local here. When you think about community involvement and getting involved with either events or initiatives, what are some of the things that come to mind for you in the realty company?
Well, I love, we are really, that's one of the big things for me. And I would like to say that I'm proud recipient this year of the Good Neighbor Award. Was the first award given for the Raleigh Association of Realtors. And I received that in the month of January. And that is due to community involvement. We do run a nonprofit for pediatric cancer patients. And we have families right here in this community that we service. So that's a big part. I'm really large into our community involvement, push that really strong in our team, and just giving back to and having something additional, because I'm a true believer that no one's going to remember how many homes we sold in the year of 2026, but they're going to remember the things that we did that affected our community. So
yeah, and that's fantastic. Can you tell us a little bit more about that nonprofit?
Riley's Army is a nonprofit that services pediatric cancer patients. I started in Easton, North Carolina. Riley was actually a friend of my daughter's. We started a meal train. It's a thriving board in that community, and it was a part of my life that I always wanted to bring here. And so we opened it here in 2020 during COVID. And currently, I think today we're serving about 85 families throughout the Triangle from UNC and Duke hospitals. Riley did receive her Angel Wings at 11, but her legacy and being that person that services continues on. So it's really important to me. We do things for the nursing homes, through our church, just different things in the community. When 9/11, making sure that the fire department's down here, that we're giving our thanks back and gratitude is something that I certainly, as my business, want to be remembered for.
That's awesome. I love your perspective that you're not going to be remembered for how much you sold, right? You're going to be remembered for much more. And there's certainly, a lot of lessons learned in running a business. I mean, can you share kind of some key lessons? And you just shared, not worrying about just how much you sell, but are there some other lessons you've learned in running Triangle to Coast Realty?
Well, and I want to say, we love selling real estate. So numbers are important. I'm not going to hide that. However, I think in the end, that's not going to be what I want that they're going to remember Karen for. Lessons I've learned for the business is being a planner and always looking for, I have a lot of faith, so, prayer comes first in my life with that. But planning, and you can't plan for everything. And so you've got to be able to turn with the tides. None of us can plan for what the market's going to do at all times and things, and just being able to be abreast of what is going on and doing a lot of reading and those kind of things. So I try to stay above or ahead of what we see is coming so we can keep our clients informed.
So for someone who wants to get into business, whether it be real estate or otherwise, as an entrepreneur yourself, what advice might you offer to someone trying to, make that leap maybe into starting their own business?
Well, always follow your gut, do what you say. And because we don't get this day back. And so I think that if you've got a well-laid plan and, go for it. Absolutely. I mean, there's always going to be a sense of a little bit of fear or what if this happens or that. But I just say you go for it and, make the best of it. I can say that leaving and starting my own business 3 years ago, you can talk yourself out of it as quickly as you can talk yourself into it. So I think it's important just to have a well-laid plan and move forward.
That's fantastic. So any upcoming projects or new future plans that you've got going on?
We've got a lot of things that I can't share right now, some secrets coming up and that are in the pipeline. But, obviously property management's really big. It's something that's growing for us. I hold myself to a very high level of expectation for our team and service-wise. That has been great for us as well. Have a lot of repeat clients, Google reviews online that can just show what kind of service that we do. but nothing immediate. We look forward to 2026 being a great year for buyers and sellers in this market and investors, and just for all the growth that Fuquay has is coming.
Yeah. Along with that growth, I imagine being local here for a long time, a lot of spots that you've seen come and go, and probably some favorite local spots that you love to frequent. So what would you say are some of your top spots in the area here that you love to frequent?
You know, I was just having this conversation earlier as I was looking through the questions, and I have so many, it's really hard to say. You know, as a child, I remember, like I said, the library, being the library. We've had an anniversary dinner there recently, and I was super impressed with just the atmosphere in that place. There, even you, Marty. Marty's helped us in his shop, going in and seeing, and some houses that we've done and flipped. AC down at Signature Postal. It's just, everyone is just so kind and so welcoming in the hometown feel. Like, even though we're getting bigger, you still feel that connection, and it's something that I truly enjoy. So I can make a long list of places, but those are just some of my today favorites.
Yeah, it's a list that is growing day by day. Fantastic places, new places come in. We try them out. We enjoy them. So always a list that keeps growing, which is always great. When you start to think about the best business advice you've received that maybe helped maybe cut down on some of the learning curves or some of those initial challenges, what are some of the things that come to mind as the best business advice you received maybe as you were starting off on your own?
So when I started off on my own and was making that decision, and it was about 8 months of planning for me before I actually, decided to make that big step. One of the biggest things I did was speak to other people that had done it. And, they've all got their stories, and they're not all perfect stories, but learning from other people and from what they've done has really helped me to be where I am today. We are powered by EXP, so as an EXP brand, have a lot of top tier agents and team leaders that have assisted me just with, if something comes up, that there's just having that community of people, I think is really important. That's in your wheelhouse of what you're doing.
Yeah, I think fantastic. Anytime you can connect with other people, learn from them, ask best practices, and then even connect yourself with fantastic associates that can help cut down on some of those learning curves is always a fantastic thing.
Absolutely.
And so I think when it comes to real estate, it's always fascinating. People are always chatting about what are the mortgage rates and where's the best place to buy or this or that. And over your 25 years, would you say that there's some advice you might just share for the everyday person when it comes to thinking about buying or selling a home in terms of real estate?
Everyone says that, and yes, in 25 years, I have rode the roller coaster, as people say, right? Through the recession of '08 and different things. I think the mentality is that we wait. Well, you wait and the prices go up. So there's really never, or wait for the rates to go down or this or that. It's kind of a seesaw effect. So I think that when you're ready, it's time to look at all the options, because the house, if you wait a year, is going to cost more. The rates may be a little less, but you can always refinance. So I think just looking at the timing and moving forward with your life, because there's not a perfect time to do things, but sooner than better with the prices, the way things are in our market. Certainly we've seen them go extremely high. So yeah, I just think that not waiting. I mean, everybody says, oh, I'm going to wait, but what are you waiting for? It's going to be more in 6 months than it is today.
Yeah, and always having somebody in your corner to help you navigate that journey is going to be helpful, because it is a big decision, big purchase, and so having somebody in your corner to help is certainly going to be helpful.
Absolutely. I mean, buying our homes are our largest investments for most people. And we're not just talking about, I always say, we're not buying a pair of shoes, right? Like, we're not just doing something that simple. Finding someone that you trust. Come sit with us. The education part on learning what it looks like to purchase is something that we push really strongly, and having a buyer's consultation, because you need to learn the contracts. You need to know, when you feel that excitement, when you walk in a home, what is next. Instead of getting caught up in the emotions, I want you to already know what's going to be expected of you as a buyer to move forward. So for us and for our team is building the foundation of the education of what it looks like. And then I'll say, okay, now it's time for us to have the fun part, so that you know we're going to get to the finish line. So those are really important key factors.
So Karen, where can our listeners find Triangle to Coast Realty? What social media or website? How do we find you?
So we're on all social media aspects. It's Triangle to Coast Realty. You can find under my name, or actually our company. Our website is triangle2coast.com. tocoast.com. You can find us on there, and then we also have Triangle Coast Property Management website as well. They're linked together, but all over social media aspects, Karen Dupree Williams, and also my business pages.
And I see your social media out there on Instagram or Facebook, and then there's these really pretty pictures of the coast, and I'm sitting here freezing in the Triangle. So,
Yeah.
but you have
It's a good place to be.
It is a beautiful
They had
place.
a lot of snow too.
They did.
Yes, they did. A lot of snow. Yes. So, what's the best? What's your best part of being part of a chamber of commerce? What have you taken away from being a part of this chamber?
It's the people. You know, when you start a business and you come in, you kind of, I don't want to say feel alone, but having other people that support us and that we're all growing our mission or whatever we're doing, I think is really important, and to support each other. Again, you know, having that group of people, having your sphere, having the community support, and having the people you turn to just for simple questions. I think Dustin's done a great job. Just the presence that we have here and the growth that the chamber is doing is really important to all of our businesses.
It's certainly been tremendous to have businesses like yours be a part of the chamber and cultivate that networking that happens across our Chamber of Commerce. So, Karen Dupree Williams, thank you so much for being with us. Triangle to Coast Realty, Triangle to TO Coast Realty. Karen Dupree Williams, thank you so much for being with us on Better Together. Better, yeah, I know I can say that. We've been doing this 30 some times. The Better Together podcast. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you.
And absolutely. And thank you to all of our listeners out there. Join us each week on the Better Together podcast from the Fuquay Varina Chamber of Commerce as we highlight great local businesses. From the Dashmore Conference Room and Studio, sponsored by Rescued Wood Rehab, I'm Brad.
And I'm Marty.
And we are
Better Together.
We're better together. It's a weekly podcast. We're better together. You should know that there's more in the dash. We're better together. Fuquay Varina Chamber of Commerce. We're better together podcast.